in 3, 2, 1. Go there.
This is Sean Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints. What's with this Saints Happy Cast? This has to be the worst Saints podcast in the world. Ralph can't say anyone's name right. Andrew doesn't know football. Everyone has a hard time listening to Dave. And is Kevin even there tonight? The audio with this podcast, my God, the audio, it's painful.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. God damn it, Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, and I wanted to throw up the whole time.
Accurate.
It just infuriated me so much. The Saints were driving to put the nail in his coffin. Cook fumbled, and ever since that moment, the Tampa defense was the 85 fucking Bears, and they won the Super Bowl. By the way, this is Saints Happy Hour. You should subscribe to us on YouTube. You should check us out on Facebook, wherever. By the way, sorry, Thomas. Kevin was supposed to join us. That's why I have the 4 boxes and not the 3. Kevin bailed on us late and just ghosted us. So there's.
You don't have the "Where's Kevin" graphic?
I don't. He said not
we
to.
We didn't know he wasn't going to be here.
We didn't know he was going to be there, and Thomas said that he didn't like that when it made his job harder. So anyway, hopefully the stream is good tonight. Hopefully we're in sync, our video and audio. But let's talk about.
Thomas doesn't like it when you make his job harder. You should totally do that.
I like Thomas. Thomas
Sorry,
had
he
emailed me a 12-point plan on how to make the podcast #1 in Malta. And it's like 4,000 words. He's like Jerry Maguire with a manifesto on how to get the podcast to #1 in Malta. I gotta dive in and read Thomas's tips. But Dave, the thing about the Super Bowl yesterday that infuriated me the most was it changed everything. It changed Drew Brees' legacy. It changed Aaron Rodgers' legacy. It changed Tom Brady's legacy. I feel like Jared Cook, he at minimum deserves a winner's share for Tampa, and he might deserve a ring. He might deserve a ring at the ring ceremony, Andrew. He really should.
Yeah, he's getting so much hate. I feel bad for Jared Cook.
I
almost feel like, it's so easy to point to one play, but yeah, it certainly feels like had he not fumbled, the Saints were winning that game.
Yeah, and Kevin said they have breaking news. Somebody's in his house again, probably. But Dave, this game, the thing that was stunning to me, just on like a football level, was I had talked myself into Kansas City, their line, they're missing 4 guys. But Patrick Mahomes, he's a wizard. He'll just figure it out. And their line got their ass stomped in the ground. And Patrick Mahomes was running for his life the whole game. And I don't know how you felt, but middle of the second quarter, I was like, Tampa's winning. I was surprised at how Patrick Mahomes couldn't do shit against Tampa.
Well, I'm not saying this, in retrospect. Yeah, okay, thanks, Andrew.
Sorry.
I'm not just saying this just because now we know how the game went. In fact, I thought we had done Super Bowl predictions on the last podcast, but I went back. I didn't hear any. So maybe we didn't do that. But
I don't think we did. I lost my nerve. I was going Tampa the whole week, and then game day I lost my nerve and bet Kansas City.
We did.
Oh, well then I guess I missed it because I went back to look, because I'm pretty sure what I would have said was that I would have picked Tampa Bay. And I
pretty sure you picked Kansas City.
No, I don't. Now I gotta go back and because
I think you did. I think you did pick Tampa actually. I think you did.
I think I did. And I mean, I would have done that as a betting man with a 3.5. Kansas City was 3.5 point favorites, so I certainly would have put my money where my mouth was. But no, I just can't. Tampa Bay's defense has just been playing incredible ever since the start of the playoffs. I mean, obviously the Buccaneers went and won 3 away games before they get to the Super Bowl. They never had one home playoff game. But I mean, you saw how well they played against the Saints. You saw how well they played against Green Bay. I mean, David and White. I mean, just their linebackers.
Their linebackers
they,
are fucking
they just-
ridiculous.
Yeah, and not only are they great, but I mean, like they peaked in the playoffs. I mean, they were peaking in the playoffs. I mean, Tampa Bay's defense was just great, and I need to go back and listen now because I thought we didn't do predictions, and I just missed it. But I'm going to go back and listen now. And you couple that with Mahomes, who just was obviously not at 100%. He certainly wasn't at 100% at the end of the AFC Championship game. And it didn't look like he got that much better over the last 2 weeks. He wasn't nearly as mobile as he could have been. I think the most surprising thing was just like how Brady went to all of his, his old, all
His
the
boys.
gang. He got the band back together.
He did.
Gronkowski's
Gronk
catching 2 touchdowns. Antonio Brown is catching a touchdown. I mean, and that just highlights this team was not Arians' team. This was Tom Brady's team. I mean,
and let's be
Tom
clear.
Brady came in here. He brought Gronk with him. He got him to sign Antonio Brown. I mean, like how old is who's their Byron Leftwich, right? He's the quarterback coach.
He's
like,
the offensive coordinator. Yeah.
Offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but right, offensive coordinator. Byron Leftwich is probably what? Is he probably at least the same age as Brady? Maybe even younger than Brady?
He's probably.
Like how old?
Yeah, I mean, he lost a playoff game to Brady when they.
Yeah, I mean they were contemporary.
He's 41.
Wow.
Okay, Brady's older than him. So it's like you're Tom Brady. Are you really listening to Byron Leftwich as your offensive coordinator? You are way more accomplished as a quarterback and with experience and leadership and all that stuff as Tom Brady is. It's like not that he looks down on Byron Leftwich, but I mean,
but he's running his own shit, is what you're saying.
Maybe, but like it's like. This was Tom Brady's team. I mean, Tom Brady made all this happen, and I hate it. I hate to say it. We all don't like Tom Brady. We especially don't like Tom Brady now that he's in our division and he's on Tampa Bay. And obviously, I think the sane Saints fans look at this and say, you got to respect it. And obviously, Tom Brady is the greatest that ever played. But that's
one Jared Cook fumble away from beating them 3 times.
Well, it's just
horseshit ball carrying. I know that. Horseshit.
Tampa.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating is that they're.
Well,
it could have been different, and it's frustrating. It's just it's jealousy.
Well, it's complete.
I hate him because I'm jealous, and I will be the first to admit that. I'm man enough to admit that, but I'm jealous because it frustrates me that I was watching the game with a friend yesterday, and he's like, well, you just got to respect, he works harder than anybody else. I'm like, does he? You're telling me that Drew Brees doesn't work as hard as Tom Brady?
No.
Drew Brees is just as deserving to get all the accolades that Brady has gotten. And it just happens to be that Brees wasn't on the Patriots and didn't have the advantage of Belichick for all those years. And it just so happens that Brees hasn't been just gifted or blessed with the ability to stay as healthy as Brady has. I mean,
Dave, I think one of the interesting points Dave makes is that, Tampa had their defense peaking. Gronk found the fountain of youth at the right time. Andrew, that's the thing that was one of the most frustrating things of the Saints these past 4 years. Take the no call out of it. The Saints didn't have anybody just play fucking lights out in the playoffs. Like Breeze was great against Carolina, but they didn't have like Tampa. Devin White was amazing.
I don't know, man. I mean,
Antonio Winfield was amazing. Like the Saints didn't have anybody play lights out.
Deontay Harris against the Bears. Taysom Hill last year against the Vikings. Trey Hendrickson against the Vikings.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they've had some guys step up.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I was thinking of 2018. But then again, then Thomas did have the monster game against the Eagles' dead secondary.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up though, because I do want to say, one element to Tampa in this postseason is that they acquired Leonard Fournette, and he really didn't do much all year. It was really Ronald Jones was their back, and they kind of kept Fournette for a lot of the season on ice. He had a couple games where he had big games during the regular season, but for the most part, he was clearly number 2 behind Ronald Jones. Even when he played, he wasn't terrific. And then the playoffs start, and he's got fresh legs because he's been, like I said, on ice all year. And, a lot of the talk is about that defense, which is tremendous. If you look at the number of turnovers they created both in New Orleans, in Green Bay, and then they got Mahomes to throw 2 picks. So the defense was tremendous, no doubt about it. But I think early in the year, where Tampa struggled is they weren't a great running team. They're a pretty good running team. But I think when you look at Brady's high turnover volume earlier in the year, I just think they were getting in a lot of situations where he felt like he had to take riskier throws to get first downs. And when they got in the playoffs, Fournette was a bell cow for them in every game. In every single playoff game, he was awesome. And it allowed Brady to take a lot less risks. It allowed Brady to play more efficiently. And he cut his turnovers way down in the playoffs because of it. And so that to me is kind of like, obviously this is me, the LSU homer talking, but no, I really do think the X factor for the Bucs and why you saw such a different team other than maybe their defense elevate their game is that they had an elite run game in every single playoff game. And they had a supremely talented guy in Fournette that was completely fresh. It was almost like adding a new player to the mix because he was the backup all year.
And here's an interesting thing to bring it back to the Saints, Dave, is I am convinced that because Tom Brady won the Super Bowl and they kicked Jameis Winston to the curb and the Bucs won, and the simple explanation is they got rid of Winston and they got Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a winner. Winston is a turnover machine, and that's why the Bucs won the Super Bowl. And I believe that the whole offseason and next summer, every NFL expert and every fan is going to laugh at the fucking Saints because they're going to have Winston. And I think it sets up great for the Saints because I think the Saints, they couldn't win the Super Bowl. Brees, we love him. He did amazing things, but his time has come and gone. And the Saints need a new quarterback, and it can be Winston. And I love the fact that the world is going to be laughing at the Saints because they're going to have Tampa's reject at quarterback. And Thursday night to start the season, it's going to be Saints at Bucs, Brady,
so
Winston, 7:30, and America is going to be laughing at the Saints, and it's going to set up perfectly for Sean Payton to prove everybody wrong. I love this setup. I love the new quarterback. I am 100. It's weird. Yesterday, Tampa winning the Super Bowl has turned me. I am 100% committed and on the Jameis Winston roller coaster ride for 2021. Are you with me, or am I alone?
Well, first of all, I totally agree with you that it's going to be Saints at Bucs on Thursday Night Football to start the year, especially if Jameis Winston's the quarterback, because it's just like the storyline there is too perfect. I'm really disappointed that Kevin's not here tonight because he wrote back to me on Twitter when I said that, and he said, nah, I think it'll be Packers at Bucs. They don't even play.
Of course they don't.
Nice, Kevin.
Of course they don't. But Dave, are you with me? I'm totally on the Winston train, and I'll be sad if the Bears or the Colts or some team makes a ridiculous offer for Winston. I'm on the Jameis train for at least 1 year.
I mean, I'm interested. I mean, I'm all about having them re-sign him, and I'm all about seeing what he's got. Are you saying like you think he's going to be good and he's gonna, Saints are gonna win another 11 games next season?
I
or
think
you're just all in because you're ready to see.
I'm ready to see it. Here's what I'm ready for, Dave. I'm ready to be either bask in Jameis 1 of 1 dunking on the entire world, or I'm going to get blocked by Jameis 1 of 1 like 7 weeks in because Jameis is going to have 15 picks. Like, I'm ready for that. Either of those scenarios sounds fun to me. I'm ready. Like, my body is ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
My body is ready.
My body's ready.
You don't even want to know what I'm picturing in my head.
I am.
I'm totally ready. I'm totally ready until the first quarter.
Well, I mean, like, what happens? What happens if the Saints go and get somebody crazy, like some, you know?
Well, I mean, if they got Watson, I'd be like, bye-bye, Jameis. But I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I see Alan in the chat saying he's not on the Jameis train, but like, what's the alternative?
I guess you could be a
Taysom. You want to draft a QB? I mean, they're at 28.
If you say Mac Jones, I will reach into the chat and kick you in the balls.
I think Jameis is probably the best option they have, realistically, for next year to be successful.
I mean, it's not the thing is, to me, looking at that Super Bowl, I know the biggest play Tampa had was a 31-yard pass to Mike Evans, but I just looked at it and the Saints need to be more dynamic, and they need to throw the ball downfield, whatever comes of it. And it made me realize, Dave, that like I'm totally in on the Winston train, and I don't more than ever, and even before Sunday, I don't want Brees to come back, but Sunday sort of solidified it for me. If Brees comes back, I'll talk myself into it, I guess, but I really don't want. I want him to retire. I wrote the column for Channel 4. It's locked and loaded, by the way. There was the Drew Brees retirement column is locked and loaded for Channel 4. But I don't want to see more sad Drew Brees, and yesterday sort of clarified it for me. Dave?
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what's the question?
So the question is, did yesterday convince you that the Saints need a new quarterback, not Drew Brees, to win the Super Bowl?
Oh. Yeah, I say that, but like, and maybe this is just because I just cannot quit Drew Brees. It's like a drug. I just can't quit you, baby. But like, after hearing about all the injuries that he played through last season, like, I still just wonder, like, if we could get a 100% healthy Drew Brees, like, what does that look like? Like, is he going to look better than he looked last year? Could he look more like 2018 Drew for one more season? And if that's the case, then no, I'm gonna take Drew for one more year. Oof. But I mean, if Drew last year and year before that is the best that it's gonna get, and we're gonna just keep talking about ADOT and air yards and all that kind of stuff, then no, forget it. I'll be ready to move on.
Well, I mean, don't you think realistically we're at diminishing returns at this point?
Of course, definitely diminishing returns. And if I had to guess as to which Drew Brees we would probably get, it would probably be the latter. I don't think I don't know whether a 100% healthy Drew Brees is
possible.
If that's even a viable option at this point.
Yeah. Well, that segues to my next point, Andrew, is Saints news. Drew Brees redid his contract and freaked out the internet because the Saints, Mickey Loomis, the genius that he is, created $24 million of cap space. Drew Brees redid his deal. Saints can break the dead money over 2 seasons. But isn't Drew Brees redoing his deal and he's going to, quote-unquote, play for $1 million in 2021? Like, that seals it. Like, he's fucking retiring. Like, there's no way Drew is coming back and playing for $1 million. Right?
No way. No way.
And look, we'll get into the Drew Brees. When he retires, we'll do a live stream and we'll do a whole show on our favorite memories of him. You know, and I should have sent that to the topic list to you guys. But the thing is, to me, is not necessarily a specific memory of Drew Brees, but just the fact that he came here, and for 15 years, I really believed in my heart the Saints could win the Super Bowl, and that before Drew Brees arrived, I never once in my entire Saints fandom before Drew Brees believed the Saints could win the Super Bowl. I believe they could go to the playoffs. I believe they could have fun seasons, but I did never fucking believe they could win the Super Bowl. Not with Bobby Hebert, not with Aaron Brooks, none of them. But with Drew Brees, I believed it. And I think of everything that he did, that to me was the most special. Like, I really believed every goddamn year, if it fell right, the Saints could win the Super Bowl. They only won one. They could have been a little luckier. They might have won 3. They could have been a little less lucky. If Brett Favre wouldn't have been stupid, they might have none. But I just look at, like, that to me, of everything that Drew Brees, his legacy, that to me is going to be the thing that I remember most. And
okay.
and for you, what is going to be Drew? What do you think is going to be your biggest memory for Drew Brees, his legacy?
Yeah, man. You know, I listened to you guys talking about this on the other podcast earlier. You know, I like the '09 Miami game. That was awesome.
I was there. It was amazing.
You know, and not necessarily the goalpost dunk. I mean, but just the whole thing. Honestly, if I have one lasting mental image from that game, it's the classic over the top goal line
Reggie
Drew Brees
Bush
thing. No, the Drew Brees. You know, when he's on the goal line.
Oh,
he
at the
just
goal
snaps
line,
and
right
goes
before the
right,
half.
but
Yeah.
right before the dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know. Did they run that play twice in that? Did they score twice with
They might
something
have.
like that? I don't know, but just in general, that goal line Drew Brees quick snap over the top, that'll be a lasting memory for sure.
The spin move against the Falcons. I mean,
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
spin move
God.
against the Falcons for sure.
That was
The game against the Patriots in 2009, probably.
I was there too.
Um,
Magical.
the meet around game against the Redskins.
That's not really a Drew Brees moment.
Oh, are you
You know.
kidding me? He threw that. He threw that long
that's-
pass to Meacham.
Yeah, I know.
Later
but
in the game.
That's an unknown who dat memory, really.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You know what is
Great
a weird?
reference.
You know what is a random Drew Brees memory for me? 2013 Week 2, they played Tampa, and they were dog shit for 58 and a half minutes, and Drew Brees let them down. Boom, 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 and Hartley kicked the field goal, and it felt like straight theft of a game. That one in the Redskins game in 2017, Dave, where Kobe Fleener comes alive and the Saints just steal it, right? That's another one. Like, I have it's not the big games for me. It's the games that Drew Brees like stole. And I said this, Andrew, one of my favorite years was 2010 because that Drew Brees was just pulling games out the ass all year long. Like Cowboys on Thanksgiving, Cincinnati, Minnesota, San Francisco. Like I think they were like 6 or 7-1 in one-score games, and it was just Drew Brees just being amazing in late games, you know. And
I think one of my lasting Drew Brees memories. It's not a specific memory from an actual moment. It's a general memory, which is just putting up ridiculous stats in a game. You know, 450 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, in a game that the Saints lose, you know, 42-38 or something like that. Like that's gonna be one of my lasting memories because I feel like there were just so many of those, and it's like. And it's crazy because he put up some incredible stats in some of those losing efforts, and because the games are losses, they don't get remembered as much. And his
no one in
performance
history has more.
And his what has more what?
No one in history has more 100 quarterback ratings with a loss than Drew Brees.
Yeah, that's
That's
exactly,
unbelievable.
that's what sums it up. That's what's going to be one of my biggest memories. Is so many great Drew Brees performances just being wasted, absolutely wasted.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Alan in the chat also said that he said I never doubted we wouldn't win a game with Drew. We could be down 21, and I thought Drew could still win it. That's definitely a memory of mine. I mean, I just in general, like the confidence I had that Brees was gonna put the ball on the money, that he was gonna find the open receiver, that he's gonna just be in control. The ultimate control all the time. But it's crazy. I mean, when you think about from 2006 to 2020, I mean, we're talking about 15 years where he's been the quarterback, and to me, it's not even. It's like his mannerisms. It's licking his fingers. It's the little, the little shoulder twitch.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
I
don't know,
mean,
he has,
yeah. I mean,
well, the arm shake comes with the shoulder twitch. He does the shoulder twitch and then the arm shake.
right.
But no, I wanted to. I just adding to Andrew's thing. Andrew said he's gonna remember, or he was quoting somebody else, a listener, saying, even if we were down 21 points, I never felt like we were out of the game because Drew was going to get us back. Well, I think you combine that with my lasting memory, which is Drew would always get us back in the game and get us a lead, and then the defense
lose
would on the last fucking play of the game or the last drive and give it up, and we'd end up losing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Drew Brees.
It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird, man.
It's gonna be
weird.
It's gonna be weird with Drew Brees. The one thing I was yelling at people. They were saying they were like, I wanna, we need to go 4-12 and have a reset and burn. I'm like, fuck that shit. Jameis, the new quarterback, will be the reset, and we'll just continue to win. It'll be fine.
I will never be on board with that. Never.
No, and you made a point. You made a point on with the Saints Happy Hour Twitter is look, being in the top, picking in the top 5 doesn't guarantee you shit. If it guaranteed you being good, the Jets would have been a functional franchise the last decade. The Lions.
I went through the top-rated NFL quarterbacks this year, the top 9, and the highest drafted one was like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
None of them were in the top 5. I looked at the top, 100 players on NFL Network last year, and no one in the top 20 was drafted in the top 5, I think. So maybe it was top 10. But anyway, this kind of belief that you go 4-12 and then you get a top 5 pick, and all of a sudden you have this savior. It's just not true.
I mean,
it's not.
I mean, not to belabor a point, but Kansas City, they went like 2-14, and they picked first. This is 6-7 years ago, I think. They had to pick Eric Fisher, who's like not even like an elite offensive tackle. He's a nice offensive tackle in probably like the Zach Strief kind of category of an offensive tackle. They picked him number 1. Like, just because you pick, it might be a bad year for quarterbacks or a bad year for skill players or whatever. So it doesn't guarantee you anything. But the thing that I want to get back to, Andrew, is well, before we get to that, the Saints unfortunately made a lot of news Super Bowl Sunday, which wasn't good. They had COVID violations all over the place. Apparently, Kamara wasn't wearing his tracking device. And worse than that, Andrew, they let Mike Ornstein back in the building, who the NFL hates. And unfortunately, my joke that I made the day that Terry Fontenot became Atlanta's general manager, I was like, oh, cool, the Saints get an extra comp pick. I'm sure the NFL will just take that away for some bullshit COVID violation. That tweet is going to come true, isn't it? The NFL is going to fuck us out of the comp picks that we've been waiting our whole lives for.
I would not bet against it.
Somewhere Kevin's ears are burning. He knows that draft picks are either getting taken away or traded.
Yeah, it's probably happening. Look, Ornstein's a weird situation. I know he's Sean Payton's boy.
He's also a convicted felon.
Yeah, well, look, he's loyal to his friend, and I don't know Ornstein. I don't know it's definitely not a great look.
He looks like a criminal. Have you seen pictures of that dude?
He looks like a little consigliere or something, But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm sure from what I've heard, Ornstein is an affable guy to have around, and he's fun, and he gets shit done. But yeah, I question it. I mean, the other thing apparently is he's labeled a non-employee, and this is why this is a big deal that he was in the building. And yet, I know the Saints were COVID testing him, so he had to pass a COVID test to get in the building. So it's not like they were sneaking him in the back door and he wasn't taking a COVID test and he was running around the facility, kind of untethered or something. And I also know that they were kind of using him for planning. He's always been kind of a logistics guy, an ops guy for Sean Payton. And I believe they pay him, as an outside contractor or something sometimes. And so, there's this whole question now of, is he really a non-employee? I don't see that clearly.
Well, so I feel like, Dave, it's going to be really hard for the NFL to really hammer the Saints in theory if they were testing Ornstein, which apparently they were, and he was sort of a quasi-employee. It wasn't like they let some rogue dude in the building and they were trying to hide it from the NFL, right? But that said, Goodell is erect because he gets to fuck the Saints, right?
Well, I do not think Goodell thinks highly of Ornstein or Payton, to be honest with you. So, but I don't know whether we're going to see any sanctions that would affect the football operation instead of it. I mean, I think this may be a fine-only situation. So I don't know whether we have to.
I don't know. They already took a pick away. They fined him like $500,000, and I'm sure Gail, with the way 30% of the revenue is gone, I'm sure she's not going to be pleased with a $500,000 fine. But Dave, I have another question for you. Alvin Kamara wasn't wearing his tracking bracelet. Was he right to not want the NFL to know where he's going in Metri when he's looking for poontang? Like, is his right as an American to go where he wants to go in Metairie, in Fat City, wherever, to chase some hoes? Freedom. Is he right? I mean, is he right not to want to wear the tracking device?
You do have certain rights as an American citizen, yes, but if you are employed by an employer and you agree to certain rules or regulations with your employer, you break those rules, you are you can be punished.
But apparently not during the year. They didn't do shit for him during the year.
It's like the people who go on Facebook and make some terrible racist comment or something, and then their boss fires them, and they say, well, what about freedom of speech? Well, yeah, you are allowed to say it. Nobody's coming into your house and arresting you, but your job doesn't have to employ you anymore. So,
Dave, stop following me on Facebook.
So, I mean,
freedom of speech and the right to bear the consequences, right?
If Alvin signs something or is in agreement with the NFL that says if you want to play in our league, you have to wear this tracker 24/7. He doesn't wear the tracker. Then he broke the rules of the NFL. Now, why he feels like he's above the rules of the NFL, I don't know.
6 touchdowns in a single game. That's why.
Well, that's a terrible attitude. Like, come on. Like,
I mean,
is that?
But here's
is that the attitude Marcus Colston would have had? No. Was that?
Well,
the
here's my.
No.
Here's my question, though, Andrew.
If you're gonna bathe in the glory of "We Make the Rules, Pal" and Sean Payton's pettiness, if we're gonna love that, then we have to accept the loss of draft picks and the league.
I've been waiting my whole life for these comp pick, Juge. I've been waiting my whole life for these juicy, delicious comp picks, and now Goodell's going to take them from me. It sucks. But here's my question, Andrew. Why, if Kamara isn't wearing the tracking device, why is it just coming out now? I feel like with everything going on with COVID and these teams having outbreaks and the NFL having to reschedule games, I feel like I'm just surprised that the NFL didn't kick the Saints in the nuts once the NFL was like, Alvin hadn't been wearing the tracking device for 4 weeks. We're fucking fining you 7 figures. You better get that correct. Like, I'm just surprised the NFL didn't kick the Saints in the nuts during the year. I'm surprised they waited till now.
Did something happen to the Titans when they held practice outside the facility when they all had COVID?
I mean, I don't think did somebody
they
in the
lose a
chat
draft
room
pick?
could say. I mean, a Saints fan had a Twitter thread of all the COVID violations that weren't the Saints, and they would do the COVID violation and they would say what happened to the team. And I want to say the Titans lost like a 7th round pick maybe and got fined, but that was No, it was Baltimore. Baltimore got fined got taken a pick away because their strength and condition coach was running around without a mask.
I mean, I don't know. I saw plenty of Tampa Bay Bucks players in the locker room with no masks on after the Super Bowl.
Well, let me ask you this question: How, for all the punishing they're doing for teams and not following protocols and wearing masks and tracking all that kind of stuff, why is it okay that in the post Super Bowl ceremony, when they're awarding the trophy, you've got Goodell up there without a mask, you have the owner of the Buccaneers up there without a mask?
It's a joke.
I mean, how could they have possibly thought that was a good look? And don't tell me that nobody thought of that. The NFL has 50 people that
I'm telling you,
is concerned about optics. And
I'm telling you, if the Saints would have won the Super Bowl yesterday and Payton would have been not wearing a mask, Goodell would have announced that the Saints forfeited their first-round pick before he handed him the Lombardi. And I believe that, and you can't prove me wrong, no matter what you say. By the way, in the chat room, people are saying nothing happened to the Titans. They got fined $350,000. No picks got taken away.
See, I don't understand that. COVID was running rampant throughout their facility.
Their facility was drenched. Their facility was drenched in Rona.
Which obviously meant they weren't following protocol, right? If they were all wearing masks, they wouldn't have gotten it. And then they're all sent home, and Tannehill organizes a practice somewhere else while they all have COVID.
Yeah, they're not, but they weren't quote unquote, they weren't repeat offenders. So listen, before we get
maybe it could be that I remember hearing something like another memo was sent out after that, and they were like, all right, now that this has gone down, like, we're having a zero tolerance policy.
Zero tolerance just means they're looking for a reason to fuck the Saints.
But I mean, Sean Payton had made that comment that they were on double secret probation.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe the NFL told them, listen, you guys slip again, you're done. Because, I don't know. It sucks. It sucks if we lose another draft pick for this. Like, it's especially horrible because this is the year where they kind of need these picks because they're not going to be able to be players in free agency.
Yeah. So
Defender was the name of my first favorite album when I was a kid by Richard Marx in the 80s.
Richard Marx? Cool. Jesus.
Cool story, bro.
My God, that's
cassette tape.
That is as bad. My first cassette tape I ever owned, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. I had to save up the money.
I had that one.
I was super excited. I went to Sound Warehouse.
That was a good one.
Remember Sound Warehouse?
Yeah.
What was the single? He's the DJ and I'm the
No,
rapper,
Parents Just Don't Understand.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. Ooh, I also Shaq Fu was one of my first.
Shaq Fu. I was a weird kid too. I bought the Untouchables soundtrack, which is just instrumental music. I was a nerd to the max. Before we get to the mailbag, which, by the way, thanks. I don't know if he's in the chat tonight, Skooks. He has an early runner for question of the year for the podcast. We'll get to that in a second. But I just want to tell people, please support the show. Become a patron. Support the show. and allow us to cover the Saints in a ridiculous fashion like we do every day. You support the show. We can afford to pay Thomas in Poland money to do funny videos to help us try to make the podcast better. Support the show by going to saintshappyhourshop.com and buying merch from Dave. Support the show and make the community great. We need it. We don't make any money over this. We just pump it all back. We give it to Thomas and Poland. We buy audio. We buy headsets that don't work. But support the show, and we're getting there. We're this close to having professional grade audio. So please become a patron or buy stuff at saintshappyhourshop.com. So
I love that it only took Ralph a month to figure out that in Poland it's not pronounced Tomas.
Only a month. All right.
It's just Tom.
So it's Tom. It's time to do the. It's time to fire up the music and do the world famous Ralph Shuffle. All right, Dave. I'm going to ask this question of you because you are a Saints season ticket holder and you go to all the games. This is from Skooks. How are you planning to cope with the loss of the Superdome ramps? Learning how to rappel down the side of the building through an exit hatch? Buying a wingsuit? Human paper airplane? How are you going to deal with this?
Well, actually, Skooks, I never had to deal with the ramps because I sat in the plaza level, so not an issue. I don't mean to brag or anything. So
I'm going to say this, Skooks.
They better for a peon like Ralph Malbrough, maybe.
They better have something set up nice because I have 4 pins in my legs and my left leg and a rod, and I limp like a crippled son of a bitch that I am. They better have something really, really nice to replace those ramps because I'm going to need it because those ramps will clutch for my crippled ass. I'm just saying. Human paper airplane sounds nice, though. Andrew, this is from Enriquez.
Get one of those wingsuits where you jump off the side of the mountain, and you just like glide down.
Oh, this is an interesting question from Savannah St. Andrew. Would the Saints franchise anybody? Hendrickson would cost like $12 million, right? I can't imagine we'd franchise Jameis at $25 million. Any chance they franchise someone?
Nope.
No. Their cap is such a mess, Savannah Saint, that like the thing with franchising a player is you have to create the space before they sign the tag. So like if you want to sign Marcus Williams and the tag is $14 million, you have to have $14 million of space ready for him to sign that at any time. So no, they're not tagging anybody. Dave,
it's not happening.
This is a good question from Lasix Jabawins. I want both of you to answer. Way too early prediction for the Saints' floor and their ceiling for 2021.
I'll say floor 5-11 probably. I mean, things would have to go really. I mean, this is a hard question for me to answer until after the draft, until I see how free agency goes and the draft goes. But I'll say 5-11 if like Jameis Winston goes somewhere else and they're stuck with Taysom and a rookie, and they lose some guys on defense. I think probably Sean Payton probably gets them at least a 5-11 with Taysom. The ceiling is probably 11-5, I would say. Dave,
floor and ceiling for the Saints?
I'm right on with Andrew. I think he nailed it. I would say the exact.
The roster is too talented. I think if they have Jameis Winston, if Jameis Winston's the quarterback, the floor is 7-9 because I think the roster is just too talented. Now Jameis might be a mess, and they might want to move on from him. But if they have Jameis, the floor is 7-9. The ceiling, I don't know what Jameis. Like you could convince me. I think
15-1.
I think the ceiling is the Super Bowl with Jameis. I really do. Like it could. Sean Payton could fix him. You don't know, but I'm going to tell you this: the floor, the floor without Jameis Winston is 3-13. Because I want to give you a scenario: Taysom is the quarterback, he gets hurt, and then you're playing Trevor Siemian, and he's a disaster, and the wheels come off, and you go 3 or 4-12. Like I don't think that would happen, but that's the floor.
I still
Taysom.
think the floor's 5-11.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just if the
Simeon went 9-7 with the Broncos, and I know the Saints' defense isn't as good as they were, but I'm still going 4-12.
Yeah, but that was like 5 years ago. He might be older and broken by now. You never know. He might be like
he's not old. He's not broken. He hasn't been playing.
Maybe.
He's in his 20s, Ralph.
He's an old 29. He's like me at 29. His liver's dead. You don't know. Has he thrown a pass in the last 5 years since Denver?
Matt says I think that's Matt. He says OTC projects the transition tag for safeties is $9.5 million. That's fair. I could see them slapping the tag on Marcus.
You got to create the space, though.
You got to create the space, yeah.
Final question, and Andrew, you can go in the Discord and pull up the questions. Dave, who's the number 1 tight end next year? Jared Cook, Troutman, Taysom, or a new free agent?
Man, I hope not Jared Cook. I'm gonna say a new free agent.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Troutman.
I would say I think they'll bring in a veteran, maybe like a low price like Trey Burton, where they'll start Troutman, but they'll have a veteran in the mix, to help.
What's Kobe Fleener doing these days?
Trying to remember his name. He thinks he's Batman. Andrew, do we have any questions in the Discord channel?
I think we have a couple, yeah.
Right.
Saints Rabbit wants to know, Ralph, how the fuck is Ornstein allowed anywhere near the Saints facility, or any facility for that matter?
Well, I mean, you need fixers in life, and people are fascinated with the mob. Sopranos, Godfather, Goodfellas. Like, people are attracted to the mafiosa. Dave, you could probably talk more to that because of your heritage.
Right. All Italians are in the mafia.
It's actually a fact.
Well,
the Cosa Nostra doesn't exist, Senator.
This one's from Balky Dave. He wants to know, was Ornstein in charge of getting the hookers or the blow?
Both. I think that's definitely both.
Actually, I'm going to ask you this one as well, Dave. This one's perfect for you, tailor-made. In fact, I'm a little surprised we haven't talked about this topic a little bit more since he's been released. Dave, this is from Byron. What are the chances the Saints bring back Mark Ingram on a cheap contract? Also, do you think the clown Rodgers will suspend Kamara for not wearing a COVID bracelet?
No, I don't think Goodell will suspend Kamara. And man, would they bring back Ingram? I mean, I think they're happy with Latavius Murray. I don't think they need to bring him back, but I mean, I guess if he was still sitting around late in free agency and nobody picked him up and didn't break the bank to sign him, I think they would certainly.
Where does your heart reside, though, Dave? Like, do you go back to Mark Ingram, your old boo, your old flame, your first love?
Oh, I know.
Or, but now you have Latavius now. Do you?
Yeah, no, I think Ingram. I think Ingram over Murray.
I mean, Ingram is really close to breaking a bunch of Saints records. Like, if they brought him back and he had a decent season, he could break a bunch of Saints records.
I call that, Ralph. That was my prediction all along. When he signed with the Ravens on that 3-year deal, I told you Ingram will be back in 3 years with the Saints.
Quicker than that.
I don't know.
All right.
I mean, they're hard pressed against the cap. And I don't know whether Ingram is really a need that they have to fill. I mean, I think that would be more of a luxury signing to me.
I think the only way Ingram comes back is if they have an injury, and they're like, "Hey, we need a running back from Ingram. Come back." Okay, we have another question. What the fuck was with Sean Payton's old lady glasses last week? Did y'all see? And he's right.
I didn't notice, but man, that's
he had It was like, you remember that woman Edna and it was like Edna meets Where's Waldo. It was like these round, like nerd glasses, but like oversized, because Sean Payton did like a bunch of promos last week for Zebra. It was weird. Like Sean Payton, for a guy that's married, his wife does a poor job addressing him. I'm just gonna say that right off.
First of all, Ralph, look, we now that we know your situation and that your wife lays out your clothes the night before for you, I need you to understand that that's not normal. Okay, not everybody else is getting dressed by their wife every day. So don't just go blaming Sean Payton's wife on this because you think everybody's wife.
Well, she should, is what I'm saying. She should.
I didn't see the glasses. Edna who? Edna Mode from the.
It was on the go and watch the Ringer podcast from earlier this week. It was the slow news day.
I thought you were talking about the cartoon, The Incredibles.
Yeah,
Edna from The Incredibles.
Yeah. Do we have Andrew? Do we have any more questions?
Edna Mode, yeah. I feel terrible that we both know that. It's really embarrassing.
We have kids, and I have like 2 of those Disney character encyclopedias that I read with my daughter. So I'm assuming like he lost his contacts or something. Maybe they were his wife's glasses.
Maybe.
Maybe he lost his contacts or something, and they have the same prescription, and so he was like, "Honey, I need to borrow these glasses."
I don't know. I feel like if Ornstein's still in the building, he would have figured that out.
Figured out
some good-looking glasses pretty quick if that was the case.
I mean, those glasses were so bad. Sean Payton should have not worn them and gone blind and not been able to see. Like, that's how hideous these guys. And I say that as a man who right now is wearing a pair of mediocre glasses. Like,
I was gonna say, I'm looking at your glasses.
Pretty mediocre.
I'm not. I was gonna say, are they that much better?
I mean, they're not gigantic and round, at least.
What color is your shirt, Ralph?
My shirt is gray. It is a National Historical Park LBJ. I went to Fredericksburg and went to the LBJ
wasn't he
ranch.
A former Saints quarterback?
Yeah. So, Andrew, do we have any more questions before we get out of here?
No, that's it.
That's it. So, listen, it's happening, people. The Drew Brees retirement.
I was gonna ask, do you guys think it's the shoe's gonna drop this week? That was gonna be my last question.
Yeah, it said late last week that a decision was coming within a week, so we're running out of time.
What said that?
There was like a report that said
I don't break
within a week.
Oh, I missed that.
I don't break news like Andrew does in the Discord channel. By the way, if you're a patron, get into the Discord channel. If you're not a patron, sign up. You can get into the Discord channel. It's amazing. We break news. We have ridiculous fun there. I'm there every single day, 24 hours a day, talking Saints quarterbacks if you want to drop in and humor me. But I don't break news like Andrew, but I have sources that have said next Tuesday is the day. That's when the sources are telling me that Gail said that she wanted to do something really nice for Drew, and they're going to put something together like a nice press conference or something, and next Tuesday is the day, supposedly. Sources. But I can't.
A week from tomorrow?
A week from tomorrow.
Huh.
That's what. But I can't break it because my source. The thing is, Andrew, you get real sources in your DMs. Mine is a mix of people that are giving me supposed Saints tidbits, and they're tweeting me pictures of me wearing yellow on Channel 4. So I don't necessarily trust them. But this source I kind of sort of trust. But I'm just saying, I don't be surprised if it's Tuesday or next week.
Okay. I was kind of thinking maybe it would be this week, but early next week makes sense.
So,
Ralph, did you see that tweet? It says nobody looks good in yellow, and then it's a GIF of Big Bird.
Yeah.
Knocking down a front door, and he's standing there menacingly in the door.
I mean, but let's be honest. If my wife didn't dress me There's no possible way for me to look good on television without my wife's help. That's just let's be realistic.
Wait, isn't Mardi Gras next Tuesday? That's what Fredo said.
yes. So
Ralph, you're an idiot.
Well, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Drew Brees is going to announce his retirement.
Gail's like,
wouldn't it be nice to have the boys over on Mardi Gras?
Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Freaking nailed it. Great
It's
source, Ralph.
this Tuesday. It's probably happening tomorrow.
It's probably tomorrow.
It's probably
Listen to this on
Wednesday.
your drive to work on
It's
Tuesday
probably
morning.
Wednesday.
It's happening today. It's happening in an hour.
Thank you, Fredo, for helping me roast Ralph there.
There you go. All right, everybody. Until next week, for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin, who's MIA. Thanks, Kevin. Thomas is going to yell at me tomorrow. Until then, the bar is closed.
Happy Mardi Gras, everyone. Drew's retired.